So let's stay with him. Former President Jacob Zuma's fraud and corruption case is back in court today. Zuma and the French company Thales face fraud, racketeering, corruption and money laundering charges. I'm joined live now by eNCA's All Angles anchor, Thales Similani. He's at the Pietermaritzburg High Court with senior reporter Sipamandla Gorge. So I'm just wondering what the cause of any sort of postponement or delay is likely to be.
Well, Jane, in terms of where we are standing at the moment, it's almost lining up to the starting line, right? It's been a long build-up since the decision was taken in 2018 that this matter should be brought back and basically former President Jacob Zuma should be charged. A decision taken back then by Sean Abrams, who was the National Director of Public Prosecutions, of course following a protracted period of litigation in the various courts of the country, with the final result being that the decision that had been taken in 2007 to drop the prosecution had been irregular, and basically that the matter should be brought to court. Today we basically are going to see a milestone in a way. It won't be earth-shattering, the earth won't move, but actually in terms of the nuts and bolts of this particular case, it is very significant. Despite the fact that the main player, former President Jacob Zuma, is not expected to be here, but this is going to be a milestone. And I'll tell you why I say it's a milestone, because this will be the day that we expect that the trial date will be set. The matter certified as being trial ready. The mooted date at the moment between the parties, being the National Prosecuting Authority and the second accused, Thales, is the 17th of May. We will have to get a signal from the representatives of former President Jacob Zuma whether they are on the same page and agree with that date being the date for trial. Let me take you inside court as we build up with about an hour or an hour and a half to go before proceedings start. eNCA's Sipamandla Gorge on standby to give us a sense. Sipamandla, what can we expect from inside court today? A brief sitting.
Indeed, a very brief sitting, Thulasizwe Simelane, and we expect that the judge will walk in. All parties would have already taken their seats by that time. They will then tell the judge that they have agreed on a proposed date. If that is the case, we know for now that only two parties have confirmed that they have agreed on that proposed date in May, but we'll have to find out from the rest of the parties in terms of former President Jacob Zuma's legal team whether they are okay with that proposed date of the 17th of May 2021, when we expect that this matter will be certified trial ready. So we will hear from the parties that they have agreed, they have ironed out those pre-trial management issues and housekeeping issues, and that they are ready to proceed with this matter. It's going to be a very brief court session today. That's what we expect. At least after that, it will be an adjournment to a later date. But inside the courtroom, the public gallery will not be packed. The former president is not expected to physically attend today. We have heard from his legal team that he's been advised that it's not worth it because it's going to be a postponement. Remember, today was going to be a postponement anyway, because this was set down or was fixed as a holding date pending the finalization of that matter between state and Thales at the time, where former President Jacob Zuma's co-accused, that is the French arms company Thales, was challenging that racketeering charge. So they lost that challenge and they decided not to appeal, which brings us closer to the start of this trial as we speak. Thulasizwe, inside the gallery here, I'm only seeing two of former President Jacob Zuma's relatives. Apart from that, we expect that few more people will come to be inside court, but it will not be packed. We understand that the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has not deployed any leaders here because they say the former president is not coming. We also don't expect that his supporters will be packed outside. We'll have to wait for May for that one. But inside court, proceedings will be very brief. Thulasizwe.
Right, Sipamandla, in a moment I want us to discuss that particular matter you raise about how the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal plays this one out, given the dynamics around one of its members. But not before I speak to Mpumelelo Zikalala, just from a legal perspective. Mpumelelo, so the last hurdle, which was the challenge by Thales to the racketeering charge against them, has fallen by the wayside. That has been cleared. Thales, our understanding, at least from the prosecution side, is that they are on board with the trial date in May. What does this mean going forward? How do the parties ready themselves? How does the prosecution ready itself to present a case by May? What has happened up to this point to make them ready? And what does the defense do in preparation for that date?
We would presume that they've already submitted the affidavits and statements over to the defense side. They've met with their witnesses and consulted with them so that they have a brief idea and a clear picture of what the matter is about, and they are ready to proceed in terms of leading their first witness. On the defense side, probably they've read the statements, they've read the affidavits that are there, they've prepared sort of your preliminary cross-examination questions, and they've also read their witnesses who are going to come and dispute the submissions which are going to be made by the state's witnesses. So at the end of the day, it's up to both parties to make sure that they are both ready and they are both ready to start, and that it's only a few things which can impede the starting of this particular trial.
All right, Siphamandla, let me bring you back in. Lastly, you mentioned the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. Whenever these cases take place, whether be it the case around Ace Magashule last week in the Free State, and also the issues around former President Zuma's disputes with, and that's an understatement really, disputes with the judiciary or the State Capture Commission, or indeed this particular case, the ANC is also in the spotlight and in a way on trial as well in terms of their adherence to the rule of law and upholding of the rule of law. A letter from President Cyril Ramaphosa indicating the importance of respecting the judiciary. What is the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal as the province where former President Jacob Zuma is a member? How do they play this one out? They've been speaking, haven't they?
Indeed, they have, and it's a difficult one for them. But let's just remind our viewers that the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal a few months ago did take a decision that to approach the National Executive Committee of the ANC when it comes to supporting former president when he appears here in Pietermaritzburg, because they were concerned that some rogue elements, as they called it back then, were hijacking the platform. Before COVID-19, you would have people organizing former President Jacob Zuma's supporters and even addressing them, because at the time the ANC had discouraged its members and leaders from going to court to support those who are accused of corruption and other criminal cases. Now the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal said, hang on, former President Jacob Zuma still enjoys support in KwaZulu-Natal. You may disagree with that, but he's still a major political player in the province and in the ANC body politic in KwaZulu-Natal. So they approached the NEC to say, allow our members to go to court and our leaders to go there and show support, so that we control whatever messaging comes out when his supporters are being addressed. So they were expected to attend today. They were expected to deploy some of their leaders, including the Provincial Secretary Mdumiseni Ntuli, we understand. But now all of that has changed because the former president is not physically appearing in court. But the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in KZN has a position that they will continue to at least to show support so that they try and coordinate and in a way deal with how former President Jacob Zuma's court matters are dealt with when it comes to crowd management and addressing his supporters.
And importantly, Siphamandla, in as far as the disputes with the judiciary, the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal saying that they believe that the issues around the Zondo Commission are best dealt with in trying to find an amicable solution in which former President Zuma's grievances around the commission are dealt with, but at the same time the rule of law being upheld. And in that regard, they tried to engage with the former president, and our understanding is that they didn't make much headway in as far as that particular process, which is separate from this matter, is concerned. So Dumi, from where we stand, Jane, at the moment, within this hour, the various players inside that court process will actually start filing in the entrance behind us here at the High Court in Pietermaritzburg.
And we'll be back with you then. Thank you.